Welcome back to the Maximum Lawyer Podcast. I'm Jim Hacking.
And I'm Tyson Mutrix. What's up, Jimmy? You got your baseball, you got your St. Louis Cardinals garb on, which is fantastic. I like it. It's good.
Even though they're neither fantastic nor likable, they're in the basement. There was actually booing at Busch Stadium last night, which freaking never happens. I
That
think
never happens.
the team's a mess. Nolan Arenado looks completely lost. I think the coaches all need to be frog marched down Market Street. I think that this team had a lot of potential. They got no pitching over the offseason, and they've driven it into the ground. It
Yeah, the
reminds
weird
me.
thing about baseball, though, you can switch things up really quickly, and things can just turn on a dime. But what's it remind you of? You're gonna say it
I don't
reminds you of
know
something?
if you've ever seen the movie The Natural, but when the Knights
Yeah.
were really bad, they brought in the sports psychologist or some equivalent, kind of a quack. And I just remember he stood up in front of the team and he goes, losing is a disease as contagious as syphilis. And then they would show clips of the Knights playing poorly. And that's what I think the Cardinals are going through. And I think there's a metaphor for us in owning a law firm with it. I've been thinking about it that sometimes you get in that funk, and then it seems like the funk piles up on each other. And I was talking to my therapist yesterday about all the stuff that piled up on me the last couple of weeks, and it's like, dude, there's 10 things. There's 10 things. My house is under attack. We're renovating the whole house. We just got done with Ramadan. We've got all these things that we could, we had to let someone, we parted ways with someone here at the firm. And just like if you let all that stuff pile up, you can really get into a nasty rut that can be hard to get out of. And I feel like I'm coming out of it, but man, it can feel just like that clip in the movie where it's just like you just can't catch a break.
I agree with you. You gave me a wonderful segue into something I got to bring up, but I'm going to ruin the segue. I don't care, but I know what you mean because like as you know, I've been sick since like last week, and I missed 2 days of work. Like I've never missed 2 days of work, and it had me down. Like I was sleeping. It was like a lot of sleep, but it is one of those things like when you're laying in bed for that long, you're like you just think about all these things, feel like it's just piling on top of you. And it can be tough sometimes. But the other thing I was going to say, the other thing way I was going to ruin your segue is of all the teams, our two boys, all right, of all the teams that they got assigned the names, do you know what teams they got? Baseball teams they got?
Oh yeah, the Yankees.
Yes, Jackson's team is
And
the Yankees.
who would be the other one?
The worst of all,
The
you know
Cubs.
this. Yes, the Cubs. We got the two. We got the two that you never want. It's just we got both of them. So Yankees and Cubs. Like, gosh, dang it! But like, our the both of them seem like they're pretty good. So I'll take it, I guess. Anyway,
That's funny. When I coached when the kids were really little, the first time I coached them, I they were the Tigers. So when I ordered their hat, I got them a D, but the D didn't look like the Detroit hat, and it just looked like a dumb D. And everyone was like, "These are the Tigers. Why do you have a D on their hat?" So my son loves to tease me about that.
I like it. It's good. I went to one of the last Detroit Tigers games. I don't think it was the last, but in the old Tiger Stadium, it was so cool. When you look, like, so we sat in left field. When the ball would go up, you couldn't see the ball. It was like that. It was just such a poorly designed stadium. But it was really cool. If any of you listeners have ever been to it, you know how cool it is. Because like all these like triple deckers, it was really cool. But people were like ripping chairs out. People were ripping things off of the chairs. Like it was because they were going to destroy it like a week after that. So it was
I
neat.
saw a game there. I was by myself. I went to a screenwriting conference, if you can believe that. And um, I bought a ticket and I was in the third row, but it was the first two rows go down underneath the ground level. So in the third row, my eyes were at the level of the feet of the first baseman. It was the craziest thing. I'll never see a game like that again. It was bizarre.
It was weird. That one's weird. And then Oakland, I saw a game by myself in Oakland, and it was awful.
The
It's a
worst.
football stadium. It is the absolute worst. I saw one in Minnesota, the old Twin Stadium. That one was awful. Not nearly as bad as Oakland though.
The real worst one is the Tampa Bay, the juice box.
Oh,
It's
never
the
been to it.
worst. It's a multi-use place. It's rusty. It's gross. It's not good.
That's crazy. All right, let's move on to the thing I got to bring up. So when this airs, this is June 13th, and our next in-person guild event. I want to make sure I mention this because prices go up in about a week. The next in-person guild event is Thursday, July 20th and Friday, July 21st at Venture X in Denver, Colorado. And the reason why we want to make sure we mention this because we're kicking off the workshop. It's led by performance coach Jason Selk. That's why you gave me a perfect segue, but it's led by performance coach Jason Selk. He's kicking off the event. He's not going to be there the entire time, but he's kicking off the event. And that's going to be followed by a mastermind where each member is going to be able to take a hot seat. It's going to be a really, really cool event. Last chance early bird tickets are on sale through June 30th. Price is currently $11.97. It will then go up to $15.97. So make sure you get your tickets. Go to maxlawevents.com, maxlawevents.com. All right.
Well, that is a great segue because the St. Louis Cardinals need to bring Jason Selk back. They don't need to bring that guy saying that losing is a disease that's contagious as syphilis. They need Jason Selk back to bring some mental toughness to that team because they are not mentally tough.
I am curious to see if that would change things. That would be interesting. That he was their performance coach the last time they won the World Series. So maybe
Last two
there's
times.
last two times exactly. So I, I mean I don't know if that's something that Jason would want. He seems like he's doing all right by himself now. But all right, let's get to the topic of the day. All right, so um, let me give you the framework because I want to talk this through with you because I want to get what your thoughts are. I put an idea into the guild last week, I think, and here's the idea. And this is not a new idea, right? This is not something that I came up with. This is just an idea. We use team inboxes now, and frankly, the teams don't like using it. It's they like using their own email, but my post in the guild was basically, what are your thoughts on routing all emails? Okay, all emails through one person. Okay, all emails like you do a receptionist. Okay, you treat it like you would do a receptionist, and then that receptionist then routes things through tasks that could be created or whatever. That was the question. I got a lot of interesting feedback. A lot of people do things that are very similar. There's a lot of different apps apparently that allow you to do that. I know that we could do that with Zoho Team Inbox. We could do that, and I mean, you could set tasks right there from within Zoho, and it'd be easy to do. But I'm also reading this book, which I'm gonna. It's gonna be my tip of the week. Spoiler alert. But it's A World Without Email. It's by Cal Newport. You may have already read it. I know you're a huge Cal Newport fan, but I want to talk through the way we do email because it is a huge burden every single day. And so I just want to get your thoughts on ways we could redo email.
Okay, that sounds like a good topic.
All right. So, like I personally would love the idea of actually I personally love the idea of the team inboxes where everyone sort of gets all the information for their team. It's sort of difficult when it comes to court notifications because when you do that, you get if you have three people on a team, I guess you only have one attorney, but if you have two attorneys assigned to the case, then you would get the notifications would go to just different team inboxes. That part's kind of frustrating. But ultimately, I would love for all email to go through one place. That might be like a full-time job by itself, just doing that.
Why do
Like
you want all the
you'll
email to go? Why do you want all the email to go through one place?
that way there's one person that's accountable for it that can then assign tasks based upon it. Here's one of the major issues that I've seen, especially when it comes to attorneys leaving. Um, so discovery comes through that person's email. Okay. If that person does not then move it into the file like they should have, or let's say that they haven't even left. Let's say they're still with the firm. They've not added it to the file, and we've got a deadline coming up, and a case manager is trying to work on the discovery. Hey, where's the discovery? Hey, I can't get a hold of such and such because they're in court today. The deadline's in 2 days. I really need to start working on this. It gets sort of locked into that email, and if you have it in more of a team setting, it's going to allow whether that's in one email or in like multiple team inboxes more people are going to have access to it. That way it's not locked away in one person's email, or just the fact that there's communications with adjusters or attorneys on negotiations. If that note has not been added to the file, that's a problem. So I'm trying to solve the information being locked away in one person's inbox where people can't get to it.
So, I mean, first of all, I think Filevine does a great job with the dedicated case address to make sure that that doesn't happen. So once everybody gets used to using that email address, it's like a blind CC into the file, and the problem is therefore mostly solved. I'm worried about relieving everybody of that responsibility when all it really takes is yelling at them until they do it every time, right? So I just think, I mean, how would this work? Let's say you and I have a case together. So you're saying that it's not a CC matter. It's a CC email. It's the actual communication goes through some gatekeeper.
It's you could set these up where when you send the outgoing email, it looks like it's from you. So there would on outgoing email, there's no problem. Like it
What if
looks
you and I are
looks
what if you and I are trying to settle a case over email over the course of a day? I mean, I got to go find it each time it comes in.
well, see, that's why I'm glad we're talking this through. In that in
This is the dumbest plan I've ever heard.
So you don't. So the centralized one wouldn't work. In the team inbox, it would work actually, because you've only have a few people that are assigned to that team inbox, and that's what we have currently. Where you just go in the team inbox, it's right there. So it's not like it's that's a good point that's a huge flaw though with that team inbox though. It's a really good point. That's why I want to talk this through. So this is good
I mean,
because
I often come back in our firm to this analogy that I don't know where I picked it up, but like, have you ever heard that thing like if you're in a restaurant and somebody's choking or there's a fire, like, and you don't say, hey, somebody call the police. You point to one person and you say, lady, you call the police. Dude, you get a towel for their head. Dude, you do this. Like, when no one is responsible, ultimately responsible, there's big problems, right? So I think that I understand the problem that you're having, but let's say you have one attorney who's hoarding attachments in their email. That's a problem. I just don't know that the solution is the right one. That's what I'm saying.
no, and I think it's a good point. And I have heard that before, and I think that that's right. The the counterpoint to that would be is that there would be one person assigned to it, but it doesn't. I think that the centralized inbox, it seems like it's a really monumental task. It's rethinking things so much. I don't know if it's doable. It sounds like there's a lot of people in the guild that do that. By a lot, about 5 to 10 was sort of this response. It looked like people actually do it. I would love to see how they do it because it's like that. The one point that you gave me already is a really good point. Like if you're
Here's another
negotiating
one.
that stuff.
Here's another one. How many team members do you have?
I think we're at total 24.
And how many emails on average would each team member receive in a given day?
A bunch. I don't know. I know I personally get, I don't know, it's like 120 or something like that. It's
20?
crazy. Like 120. It's like
Yeah, so say
insane
100.
amount. Yeah.
So say
Say
100.
100.
Now you probably get
Yep.
more than most people, but let's say somewhere between 50 and 100. So let's say 75 times 24 people, that's in one day. I don't think this is a scalable plan. I think you're going to set yourself up for some real problems later on because even if the person is working their ass off and using automation as much as they can, you're talking about a torrent of email. I just don't know how this scales. I think if it's a one attorney and their paralegal and maybe an admin, yeah, maybe. But beyond that, I mean, we have 55 team members, you know, and we have email in all different kinds of places. I just think it's really important that you find a better way.
No, I agree. So let's take the centralized inbox and let's scrap that idea for a second because I do want to see how other people do it because I'm not convinced that that's the way of doing it either. I do want to give people some pointers on like sort of streamlining their emails because we all do get a bunch of emails. Because I think get hearing us brainstorm this idea might be helpful, but I think also giving them some takeaways too. But for those, most of us use Gmail as like we use Google Workplace. You do too as well, right?
Yep.
I do want to tell people like if you will get regular emails, you can set up filters, and if you find yourself forwarding emails to certain email addresses on a regular basis, which that does, you can actually set up filters that will catch those emails and then automatically do things with them and then archive them so you don't have to worry about it or delete them. So just keep that in mind. I don't do this with yours, Jim, but some people I subscribe to their or they've put me on their list of emails and I didn't really subscribe for it. So just subscribe to it. I don't want to read them, so I just have them automatically deleted instead of subscribe to it, just so I don't hurt their feelings. But so like there's things like you can do like things like that with filters too. I think it's a really easy way of minimizing your inbox and doing things that you want to do with them. But let's change gears with Team Inbox
Wait, can I
because
just say something real quick about that?
yeah,
Besides unsubscribing, is I've been reporting people for spam because if like the people that drive me the crazy the most are Avo reps. They're the worst. Headhunters are really bad, and I think they have multiple email addresses and they send me all this stuff all the time. And then I gave money to the DNC one time, and they've sold my email address 8,000. I get an email from every candidate everywhere across the country, and I just knock them as spam. If I didn't sign up for it, I'm not. I mean, that's the best way to keep it out of the email in the future.
it's a really good point. I've been doing that too, fairly recently. I held off for many years, not reporting them to spam, just unsubscribing, and like I just got sick of it because it
Yeah.
is that they just it's the email like, hey, we get
Got a
you and
minute?
I, yeah, you got a minute, yeah,
Quick
and like we get
question.
emails of podcast guests all the freaking time, and it's just them because they get paid to do it, right? They get paid to promote it, and then they'll email me 5 times. Hey, did you see my previous email? Hey, did you see my
Yeah,
previous email?
that's the
And
worst.
I'm like, okay, no, now you're spammed. Okay, that's what you are. So that's yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, and if for those of you that have not heard our previous episodes on like actually having a VA that handles your email inbox and all that, you should check that out. But all right, so let's switch over to team inboxes. Um, we and it sounds like you all don't use any form of team inbox, right?
Oh no, other than the feed in Filevine.
Okay. Here, let me tell you the problem with Filevine feed. When it comes to the email, there's two major problems that I have with it. One, it's the formatting, right? When if I were to CC the file on it, and if I needed to print that email off, because like sometimes we do, like for like bad faith like setups, we need to print off that email, and needs to look official. It doesn't look very good inside of Filevine if you try to do that. That is a problem. And then the other one is that when those emails, it doesn't solve the problem whenever those emails come in because they're not CC'd. And we've had attorneys where they'll say, "Hey, I saw that your client's email was CC'd. I removed it from this thread." And so that's a fairly common thing that we see when we try to CC the file. It does happen quite a bit. Um, I I want to get your thoughts on though addressing one little issue we have. So the team inbox is fantastic. It's great from my perspective, but we do have hesitation when it comes to adoption. The good thing about team inbox is that you can CC the team inbox whenever you want to. You can email out whenever you're emailing out. So, for example, like red team at mfinjury.com is one of the team inboxes. So, if I've got that for red team, those emails can come into red team. Core notifications can come into red team. And if I want to email Jim Hacking, I can just say it's from Tyson at mfinjury.com. And then whenever they reply to it, it'll actually come to my email and not the red team email. And that is it's a handy little thing. Another cool thing is too, is that whenever there's a lot of cool things about it. But if I send the email, and it's from the red team inbox, and then they respond to it. I get alerted. The other people on the team don't get alerted, which is kind of cool. Where I know it's for me. The problem is like people they seem to really like their Google email. So do you have any suggestions on adoption, getting people to adopt it? Because it is a fantastic product. It gives you a lot of options. There's a lot of features on Zoho's Team Inbox, and I just wonder what your thoughts are on getting that adoption because it is a valuable tool. I want to increase adoption. I lost your voice. Oh, you're on mute. You're still on mute.
It's like my callers on the show. So you yourself are on teams right now. You're a participant in a team or two.
Yeah, so well, I can jump in because I've got admin rights. I can jump into multiple emails or team inboxes if we need to.
Okay, so let's say Anthony. Anthony's on a team or two.
He's on green. He's on one. He's on green team at mfinjury.com. It's that one inbox.
So does that mean that every email that comes to Green Team, Anthony sees,
In that team inbox, yes.
even ones that aren't addressed to him?
Correct. Which
So now Anthony's checking emails that don't apply to him.
no, yeah, but what I would optimally, I think what I'd want is that the case manager is in charge of reviewing it and then assign them out. And so one person is responsible for that inbox, and that's not how we're doing it currently. Just so we're clear. But one person is responsible for that inbox, and then we would probably have it as the case manager.
I guess
And
the
then
point I'm trying to
whoever,
make is what percentage of time are people spending looking at other people's emails inside the group?
probably not a whole lot because they're all team related because they're all the people on that team. You have three people on that team that are assigned to that inbox. You got a litigation assistant, you've got a case manager, and then you got an attorney. That's it. So
Okay.
not they're all related to cases like that are on that team.
But like if the legal assistant is setting up a depot time with a client, does the lawyer then see all those emails?
Currently, yes. Optimally, no. Like, so what would happen is that would be dealt with by the case manager, and then it's archived into that it's tagged to that client. So then it's archived, and then they'll never see it. And you can assign emails. So Jim, if you were like on my team, I can assign that email to you, and then you won't see the other ones. You can just look at the ones that are only assigned to you. So if I go into that team inbox, you don't have to look at all the other emails. I can go, okay, I only want to see the ones that are assigned. It's just a tab. Boom, click, assigned to me. Boom, these are my emails that I need to address, and nothing else.
And that means that to get those team emails that have been assigned to me, that's not happening in Gmail, that's happening somewhere else.
It's happening in Zoho Team Inbox. Yeah.
And that's part of the headache of getting the adoption that you want to wonder about.
Yeah, and I think what it would take is us switching over almost completely.
Yeah.
That's the big problem.
I wonder if you're not creating more work by trying to create less work. It seems, I think at the very least right now, it seems like a push, if not a little more extra work. I mean, what's the big problem with letting adult people handle their own email and then notifying people when they need to?
The it's just the information being locked away is what it is. Not everyone on the team knowing what's going on with the file because it's in that person's email. If they don't make a note on it or if they don't CC the
So
file,
why don't
they're
you
done.
lose your shit the next time that happens and make a mockery of everybody involved who did not upload the documents to where it belongs and say, if this happens again, you're all fucking fired.
Well, because that's not my style. I need to bring Jim
Nor is it
Hackett.
mine. I'm teasing, but you know what I
Yeah.
mean. I mean, it
Yeah.
seems like you're taking on this monumental task to solve a relatively minor problem that could be solved with a little bit of coaching and a little bit of guidance.
Okay. Feedback taken. We'll have to talk this through a little bit more. We do need to wrap things up because both of you and I both have huddles coming up. So we can talk more about this later. I appreciate the convo. Before I wrap things up, I want to remind everyone to join us in the big Facebook group. A lot of great information being shared there. If you want a more high-level conversation, join us in the guild. Go to maxlawguild.com. If you want to join us in Denver and then later this year in Miami, and then our own little retreat that we have, little teaser there, maxlawevents.com. You can join us there as well. Jimmy, what is your hack of the week?
You know, I'm a 10 quick start and I love to get excited and jumping on to next things. Don't be too quick to jump out of a team. Don't be too quick to abdicate responsibility or connection to a team. I've spent the last 90 days or now 4 months with my intake team and I have a connection with them that I haven't had in a really long time. I'm going to be much slower in how I exit this time than I was the last time. And I just think that it's easy to sort of adopt this mindset that, oh, well, this thing's humming along, so I can go over here and go do other stuff. But I think across our firm right now, in every department, we're seeing that sort of the leaders of those departments need to be a little bit more connected than I thought. So be deliberate and be thoughtful in how you let go of connection in whatever department you're responsible for.
I love it. It's good advice. And then I already mentioned this, but my tip of the week is A World Without Email, Reimagining Work in an Age of Communication Overload by Cal Newport. So check it out. All right, Jimmy. See you, brother. See you, buddy.